Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we're going to be working our Atlas chainsaws here again, and what we're going to do, I've got a cherry tree here behind me that this thing is a pretty good sized tree, and it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was, and I'm not sure if our 18-inch Atlas chainsaw is going to be big enough for it, but we're going to try to cut it down first using the Atlas 80-volt 18-inch chainsaw. Once I cut it down here, I'm going to move it up to my concrete area so that if it rains or whatever, the main thing is getting it cut and moved before any rain or anything comes in. Right now it's real nice and dry, so I'm going to use the grapple on my tractor and take out some logs. This is actually on a really sloped area through here. It's going to be a little tricky carrying this sideways, so we'll have to see. If it gets too sketchy, then I may just take the bush hog off my tractor and hook a chain to it and drag the logs to where it's more level to where I can pick them up. I left the bush hog on my tractor to use as ballast weight. Plus, I've been using the bush hog right now more than pretty much about anything. It's springtime, things are really starting to grow. Been using that thing quite a bit. I didn't want to take it off. Let's get into this. The goal here today, we're going to see if we can get this entire tree cut up. I've got 2 batteries and I've got 2 saws. So I'm going to do the main part of the cutting, the big stuff, with the 80-volt saw. And then I've got the 40-volt that I'm going to use for the smaller stuff. And I've got 2 batteries, so 1 for each saw. I'm going to see if I can get the entire tree cut up using these 2 saws and just 2 batteries. We're going to get in here, try to get this thing cut down. The goal here is actually to get this tree to fall on this side of that poplar, which I'm going to say is probably impossible based on the lean on the tree, unless I put my wedges in there and like actually kind of wedged it that way. But I really don't care if it does kind of hit the poplar a little bit or even falls into it. It's not that big of a deal to me, simply because this area through here, I plan on actually cleaning all that up, and that's kind of why I'm taking these trees down. They're in the edge of the yard and they're leaning over into the yard. And then, so a lot of the trees that I've got around the edges, I'm actually going to take them out. That way I don't have limbs and stuff falling in the yard or chance of it falling on somebody in the yard. But anyways, I plan on taking these trees out and digging these roots up, and then kind of being able to mow this through here. So if it does hit it, it's not that big of a deal. I was thinking about cutting it anyways. She going. Wow. That actually fell where I wanted it. I was trying to watch it. I didn't want to get into it too much. I was really cautious of it because I was afraid it was actually going to, as much lean as it had up the hill, I thought sure it was going to go and like at least clip the edge of that other tree. But evidently I had my notch just enough to let the weight kind of shift this way. And I'm shocked that it worked that well with as much as it was leaned up the hill. I mean, it had a lot of lean to it, and it actually came back the opposite direction and actually came down the hill some. I'm shocked. That worked out pretty good. I think I'm actually going to come straight down the hill with my tractor and then go back up the hill to where it's not nearly as steep and then make my turn. That way I can just come down here and grab these logs, and then the small stuff up there on the far end, stuff that's not good enough for firewood, then I can just go straight over the hill with it, put it in the brush pile. Are you kidding me right now? Well, I cut the tree down. I started to make a cut and it won't work. My battery shows 3 bars. I'm gonna switch the batteries and see if it starts working again. New battery, saw it's working. This 80-volt saw cuts great. I mean, that's a 15, 16-inch log, and it zips right through that with no problem. The problem is the battery overheats, and then you can't use the saw. But you can switch the battery out, and the battery then the fresh battery will continue to work. It's not because the saw overheats, it's because the battery overheats. So before I get the battery overheated, I think I'm gonna make one more cut down here on this biggest part, and then the rest of the tree, I'm gonna switch to that 40 volt because I wanna get this thing cut up and moved today. And I'm pretty sure that the 40 volt actually won't overheat the battery. So we're gonna cut into it and see how it does here. So I'm gonna grab the tractor and I'm gonna go ahead and get these big logs out of here. This is steep through here, guys, and I just wanted to get this on camera in case I flipped over. But now I think we'll be good. I've got the majority of the log up here on the high side, and I'm going to be carrying the weight right down on the ground. Plus, I've got my bush hog on the back to help counter that weight and keep it on the back of the tractor. If I start to feel this thing going, then I'll drop the weight down so that the center of gravity will pick back up, because I know the tractor won't flip on this hill on its own. And as long as we go nice and easy, don't hit nothing to upset the tractor, then we should be good. Well, that makes moving these trees out a lot quicker. I parked my tractor up here, I set the brake, I stuck them teeth down in the ground, that way if it rolls, then that thing should dig in there and help stop it. it.